diving into Chapter 3.3 Day 2 notes, we're looking at basically goals number 4 and 5, which is finding mins and maxes and then using those for applied problems. Before we do that, though, we're going to warm up with what we learned yesterday, which was goal number 3, graphing a quadratic with its vertex and axis of symmetry. So we need to know B and we need to know A for x equals negative B over 2A. What did you guys have for that? What did you guys have for B and what did you have for A? B is what? 2, so negative 2. And then A is just what? 1x squared. So we simplify and I get negative 2 over 2 is just negative 1. Okay, so that's what we call the AOS, or axis of symmetry. AOS for short. Okay, and now that's just a dotted or dashed line, vertical line right there. Okay. Now we got to find the vertex, and the vertex is somewhere on that line. So that vertex is at negative 1 something. We got to find the something. You could just plug in negative 1, right, by hand and do negative 1 squared and then plus 2 times negative 1 plus 5. Or we got these fancy calculators that we spent all this money on. We might as well just use that, right? All right, so I go ahead and turn this thing on. Okay, I go to y equals, and I want to type in x squared plus 2x and then plus the 5. Okay, now sometimes you guys are going back and forth between homework assignments and maybe you're just doing the scatter dot program. So you want to make sure your plots are off. So go ahead and make sure those are not highlighted. You want that off. So go up there and press enter, and that will deselect it. Okay. So I've got x squared plus 2x plus 5, and then I always graph in zoom 6. Zoom standard is zoom 6. And there's that parabola. Okay. So I got a nice pretty parabola right there. And now I want to just go second trace value, and I want to plug in that negative 1. Okay? So if I plug in negative 1, I should get 4. All right, let me know if I'm going too fast or you guys didn't get 4 for that. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4. And then from there, I can do second trace value. I can do more values. Or I know the A value is 1, so it's going to follow y equals 1x squared. It's going to follow our normal pattern. Over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over 2. And what's 2 squared? 4. So over 2 boxes up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. It's symmetric. Dun, 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 dun. So I got a nice, pretty parabola right there. Okay. Any questions with that part? Y equals, I just typed in the function x squared plus 2x plus 5. Yeah, I just threw this guy in there. And then I'm in zoom 6, and we should get that graph. Let me know if you don't get that. Or if you, sometimes you guys, again, get error messages. If you're getting error when you're typing it in, let me know. If it's an error dim mismatch, it means your plots are on. So we got to turn that off. Okay. They don't ask you to do this, but I always like talking about it. Domain and range. Domain, range. Domain is always the same thing. Okay. We go negative infinity to infinity or all reals. You can do the fancy R. Range is bottoms up. Where do I start seeing my graph? Ooh, right there. What's this y value? 4. So it's a bracket on 4. It's a solid dot, and it goes all the way up to infinity. Okay. So all reals, that's the fancy R for all reals. Or negative infinity to infinity. There you go. Okay. So now we're going to switch gears. We're going to move on to goal 4 and 5, which is doing our min and maxes, and then using that to solve our problems. Do you guys have any questions with that first warm-up? Raise your hand if you got that right. Yes. Any questions if you got it wrong? We're okay. So we saw what we did wrong if we got it wrong. All right, let's take a look at the next one. So, example 1 says a rocket, okay, is shot in such a way that its height h is in meters at time x, okay? So this is going to the idea of, hey, when are we ever going to use this stuff, right? This is the applied problem, okay? So if I change my screen here so you can see what I'm doing here, okay? Just humor me, okay? Newton's law, gravity. What goes up must come down. So if I take this marker and I try to throw it, eventually it's going to go up, maximize, and come all the way down. So if I go like this, right? What shape am I making here? It's making a parabola, probably, right? It goes up and it comes down, okay? And that's a parabola. So what we're going to do is we're going to find that maximum height, okay, of that parabola. So let's do that. So again, h is in meters. I like highlighting that for you guys. At any time x, which is in seconds, is given by this quadratic function h equals negative x squared plus 3x plus 18. When am I ever going to use this stuff? Well, if you're going to be in physics class, you're going to use this a ton, right? You guys are maybe not talking about shooting rockets off, but I know you will. And hopefully you're not just doing it virtually where you can go outside and shoot some rockets, right? Now it says, what will the maximum height reached by the rocket? What's the maximum height reached by this rocket? Again, we want h max here. Okay. Now, before I find that, okay, the first thing I knew by looking at this quadratic, I knew the shape. I knew that this was a frowny face. How did I know that it was going to be a frowny face? Yeah, so this a value, Bella says that a value is negative. And we talked about if a is ever less than 0, we have a frowny face. Okay? And that might be a question. They say, hey, look at this quadratic and identify if it's a minimum or maximum right away. I know frowny face, I know max. Okay? Versus if I had a was greater than 0, I have a smiley face, which means this guy is a min. Okay, so just based off of my a value, I know exactly what's going. Positive smile, minimum. Negative frowny face, maximum. Okay? All right, well, they want us to find this guy right here. That's our vertex. That's our, in this case, maximum, right? So we want to find our max, which is in our case x comma y, which is x comma h. And yeah, that's our maximum, but that's also our vertex. And we know, if I want to do this by hand, that there's a line that goes right through that vertex, right through that maximum. And what's that line that splits our parabola in half? Yeah, the axis of symmetry. So if I was doing this by hand, I could use my axis of symmetry formula. I could use x equals negative b over 2a. So if I was doing it by hand, this is what I would do. I would take that b, negative 3, and divide it by 2 times negative 1. Well, that's negative 3 over negative 2, which turns into positive 1.5 seconds. Okay? Now, to answer the question, if it says, what will the maximum height be, and you tell me 1.5 seconds, I would look at you like, what? What are you talking about? Right? That doesn't make sense. So now I want to find the height. And to find the height, what do we got to do? How do we find our height? We got x. How do you find h? Shout it out. How do I find this guy right here? This h. We got x. Nick, how do you do it? Boom. You can plug in your calc, right? You could do it by hand. Negative 1.5 squared plus 3 times 1.5 plus 18. Or I would just throw it in the calc by graphing negative x squared plus 3x plus 18, and now I'm in zoom 6. Okay, so zoom standard. I think I'm in zoom 6. Zoom 6. I think I typed something wrong. Let me double check here. Oh, I forgot the squared. There we go. Sorry about that. Either way, I graph this thing, and I still don't see the top of the mountain here. Okay? So again, I'm in zoom 6. Is this the graph you guys are getting? Yeah? The problem is that this y max is not big enough, so I could do one of two things. I can go to my window and start messing around with my maximum value for y, or I always like zoom 0. So zoom 0 is zoom fit. So if I press zoom 0 or just go down to zoom fit and press enter, now I see a nice pretty parabola, right? So now I can find this point right here by going second trace value 1.5. Okay, and I get 20.25. So this guy right there was 20.25. Let me know if you're not getting that. And this was in what, meters? Okay, so that's our maximum height. When did it happen? It happened at 1.5 seconds. I got 20.25 meters. Okay, now we've shown you other ways to find that maximum, right? You guys remember finding the max a different way? Second trace, number 4, maximum. So second trace max is another way to do it. Okay, and in fact, this is how I would do it on a quiz or test or doing homework. Okay, I don't have time always to do all this work. I want to just, let's get her done, right? You guys got things to do. You got English papers to write, psych papers to write, hot dates, 6 feet apart with masks on, no smooching, right? So we got to make sure, saving some time here. Left bound is over here, right bound is over here of that point. So get to the left where it's increasing left to right, press enter. Right bound, get to the right where it's decreasing from left to right, press enter. And then guess, just press enter, and it will jump to the highest y value. And this time I got 1.49999. Again, that rounds to 1.5. And then I got my y value that we had, which was 20.25. When you do this, you might got 1.5 with a bunch of zeros and 1.4 or 1.3 or whatever. Just round that. It's just like a little pixel problem that they have with mins and maxes when you're doing it. Okay? So always round that x value. Do you guys have any questions, y'all? Okay, so if I'm going to do this, this is the way I'm doing it. I'm using second trace maximum or min to find that vertex, and then I can get my x and y value. Okay, or x and h in this case. All right, questions, y'all? B, when will the rocket crash into the ground? When is this rocket going to crash into the ground here? Goes up, comes down, right there. What do you guys know about the ground? Jackson, what's that?
It's 3 seconds.
3 seconds? Sometimes it is. If there's no C value, if there's no C, then yes. But this case, the C value is 18. So that means at 0 seconds, it starts at 18 feet up. Okay, so that's a good guess. If you have no C value, then yes, that's the truth. That's going to happen. Okay, so if you look at your parabola right here, at 0 seconds, it starts actually 18 feet above the ground. Okay, and then it shoots up, gets up to 20.25, then starts working its way down. Good. Good thought, though. Okay, what do you guys know about the ground? What's the height of the ground? 0, right? So h is 0 here. Okay? So all I got to do, if I'm doing this by hand, is plug it in, plug it in. I can plug in 0 in for h. So instead of h equals, I got 0 equals negative x squared plus 3x plus 18. Okay? And we can solve this by factoring. Now, if I'm going to factor this guy, I'm going to divide everything by a negative. And now I got 0 equals x squared minus 3x minus 18. And then I just factor that guy. What are factors of negative 18 that add up to negative 3? So x and x, what are factors of negative 18 that add up to negative 3? 6 and 3. One's a plus and one's a minus. Positive 3, negative 6. Okay, and then solutions, I set each one equal to 0. X minus 6 is now positive 6. And then I get negative 3 there. Okay? Well, again, this is in seconds, right? So does negative 3 make any sense if it's in seconds? Does that make any sense? That doesn't make sense. Negative 3 seconds? That's crazy. So final answer, I get 6 seconds. Okay? Now, that's how you do it by hand, but you guys want to get her done, right? So let's get her done faster. Okay? Now, in this case, this is where y is 0, right? For our height. Well, y2, we want to be 0. So go to y equals. y1 is my function, right? And then y2 is going to be that special horizontal line, the x-axis, right? So if I graph that, the idea is that rocket maximizes and works its way down, and then I want to find right there that x-intercept. Okay, this guy right here. You guys remember how to do that? Because we've done that before as well. We have 2 lines graphed, and we want to find their intersection. So I'm going to go second trace intersect. Okay. First curve enter, second curve enter, guess. This is where you want to move it towards the one you want to find. Okay. So I want to find this one, I'm going to press enter. Okay. If you found this one, negative 3, you're just too close to that one and pressed enter. So on the guess, move your cursor towards the one you want to find. You want to find this one, which was 6, 0. Okay, so again, 6 seconds. All right, so you have another option there. Okay, so our other option is you can make this guy y2. So y2 is 0, and then find that intersection. Okay, if I had to find that one, that's exactly what I would do to make this one easy. Okay, you guys have any questions? So do I have to do all this factoring and all that? No. All right, unless you want to, but that's an option. But the other option is use your calculator. Okay, I don't care how you do it, just do it. Do it. All right, do you guys have questions, y'all? So y2, make sure you have y2 is 0. That's going to be the x-axis, right? The line y equals 0 is the x-axis. So you have, for me, I have a blue one and a red one now. And then second trace intercept. First curve enter, second curve enter, guess, move it towards the one you want to find. And then press enter and it jumps to it. Don't write anything until you see the word intersection. If you see the word guess, that means you got to press enter one more time. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, question number 2 is pretty much just like question 1. I'm going to skip that one if that's all right with y'all. I want to get you guys some homework time. All right. Any questions? Jackson, you're good with that, bud? So last but not least, I got number 3. I got Joe owns a hot dog stand. Oh, Joe. He likes his hot dogs. He says he has found that the profit can be approximated by this model. So this is his profit function. Okay. Now, graphically, I know what this looks like. Smiley face or frowny face? What do you think? Frowny face. All right, so I got a frowny face. So it's a frowny face because that guy's a negative, right? All right, it says P is your profit in dollars and X is the number of hot dogs sold. Find the number of hot dogs he must sell. So find X. X equals question mark to earn that max profit. So again, I want to find this point here. Again, I could do axis of symmetry right away and be done. All right, negative B over 2A. I could do that, or, you know, let's practice graphing this thing. So I'm going to use my graphing calc. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph this guy. So I'm going to y equals. I'm going to type in negative x squared, and if I'm going too fast, let me know. Plus 60x plus 76. So I've got negative x squared plus 60x plus 76. Now, if I'm in zoom 6, okay, if I'm in zoom 6, I am not going to see what I want. Remember, zoom 6 is negative 10 to 10, and I've got huge numbers here. I got 60 and 76. So I did zoom 6, and that wasn't good enough. Okay. The next one I try is zoom 0. Or I mess around with my window, which I don't like doing. It takes too long. Then I tried zoom 0. Now, zoom 0 is okay. It's better. But what the idea is, it's like, right now, this is my window, right? And I want to zoom farther out, right? It's zoomed in too much. Okay, I don't see everything I want. So the next thing I do is zoom 3. Okay, zoom 3 is zoom out. Okay, so I do zoom 3. And it doesn't do it right away. What this cursor allows us to do is move our graph, our little cursor around to where we want it centered. I usually just leave it centered at the origin. I just press enter, and now it will zoom out for you. Okay? So that one's probably good enough to find my maximum, but just so you know, if you press enter again, it will zoom back out another time. Okay? So I zoomed 3, enter, wasn't good enough. I press enter again. If I press enter again, it's going to keep zooming out and out and out until it's going to be so small I can't see it. Okay? So this is perfect. If I was messing with my window, I would have had to mess with all these numbers here, where this zoom out just took care of that. Okay? Any questions, y'all? So let's find that maximum. That max is right there. Second trace, max, left bound, press enter. Right bound, get to the right, press center, guess, press center. And again, round that number. So 29.9999 is 30. And then I had 976. Okay. So max hot dogs was 30 hot dogs. And then what's the maximum profit? So profit, that's the Y value, right? This is X, this is P. So my max profit was 976 bucks if I sell those 30 hot dogs. Okay? And that's it, guys. Sometimes you need Y2 to be 0, sometimes you don't. You just got to see what they're asking. In this case, it was just maximum. Okay? If they give you a cost function, then it's going to be frowny face because we always want to minimize cost, right? We don't want to spend money. We want to keep our costs low and our profits high. All right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, do you guys have any questions for me with regards to Chapter 3.3, Day 2 notes?